If this is your first winter here in Toronto, you might be wondering what winter socks you need to buy. If you go to the mall, there are socks of so many different brands, but also price ranges. So in this video today, I want to walk you through different kinds of socks and which are good for which kind of weather and temperature, and also in combination with which kind of shoes, and also very importantly, my favorite socks that I can't live without when it gets to minus 20, minus 25 degrees territory. So a big question you might have is, what socks are the best socks? And the answer is, it really depends. Thermal socks are really great, but they're not great for every temperature. So to answer the question, which socks are the best, really depends on three things. The first is what the temperature outside is. Number two, what shoes you are going to wear them with. And number three, how cold resistant or not you are. Personally, during my 4 winters here in Toronto, Canada, I have found that the best approach is to have a collection of different kinds of socks. So you can mix and match them with your different shoes and also the temperature outside. Okay, this might sound a bit complicated, but really it isn't. So now I'm going to walk you through the 3 main type of socks that I have for the winter. For the months of September, October, and November, where it's between 0 to 18 degrees sometimes, I know it's really a big range, I found that the best socks to wear are thin crew socks. I'm stretching these out a bit so you can see how thin they are. So these kind of socks provide just the exact amount of warmth you need for this kind of weather. So now in the fall, it's a really great idea to pair these kind of socks with sneakers when you're still wearing sneakers a lot. It's a better idea than wearing sneakers with ankle socks or really short socks, because this is the problem. When you're wearing jeans with short socks, then usually you will have this little gap in between the end of the jeans or your pants and the socks, and that is where you can get quite cold. And with these socks here, you're covered. These socks here also work very well with boots. Because if you wear anything that's shorter than this, then your socks will just slip off your foot right into the shoe, and that's really awful. So up until the month of November, where it's around 5 degrees, this still works just fine. But anything colder than that, then you will need to upgrade to warmer socks. The next level is combining these thin crew socks with winter boots. And these winter boots that I have here from Colombia have a faux fur lining, and it can get quite warm there. So I usually wear this combination with the thinner socks and these winter boots when it just snowed or when it stopped snowing but there's still slush on the ground. Let's say it's around 0 degrees Celsius, and that way it provides just enough warmth without it becoming too hot inside there. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this video so far, then please do let me know by hitting the like button. I would really appreciate that. But in the months of November to December, it gets gradually colder, as cold as minus 5 to minus 10 degrees Celsius. And for that kind of weather, I usually like to wear these medium thick crew socks. So as you can see here, these socks are slightly thicker. They're thicker and also warmer, and they're a tad longer. They're almost mid-calf, but not quite. And by the way, guys, I'm not a fashion expert, so I don't really know these terms exactly, but that's what I call them. So in November and even December, sometimes I still wear sneakers. But once there's snow, which can be as early as mid to end November and latest in December, I usually would switch to some kind of boot. So these kind of medium thick crew socks are really perfect to wear with these boots because they stick out a bit more, they're a bit longer, and you have a bit more coverage there. And because they're a bit roomier than the socks I showed you earlier, that's also a very important factor, by the way, it's also easy to wear them over your jeans or stockings if you're wearing a dress, or leggings in my case. And I found that this combination works out just right until around 0 degrees Celsius. Once it gets to minus 5 degrees territory, then usually I would switch over to the winter boots and wear them with these medium thick crew socks. And that's usually when it snows, but it's not ultra cold yet. And that's why I don't want my socks to be too thick and too warm, because you can easily sweat in those winter boots. And then from January all the way until March, temperatures really tank to minus 10 degrees, minus 15, minus 20, sometimes even minus 22, minus 25 degrees Celsius in Toronto. And that is where you really need to get out your thick thermal socks. And these, by the way, are my favorite Columbia thermal socks, which I absolutely love. What I love is that they're really roomy, so they don't sit too tight around your ankle or calf, and inside they are fleeced, so there's this fleece material which makes it super warm. And I don't only wear these to go out, but I also frequently just use them at home. And they also come in different colors. Here are just 2 of them, but more about these later. So in this kind of weather, minus 15, minus 20 degrees, I very rarely wear sneakers, even with these socks. If at all, I just wear sneakers to briefly go outside to take out the trash, which takes 3 minutes or 5 minutes at the longest. So if you combine these kind of thermal socks with these kinds of boots, it gets really warm and cozy. And this works super well even if you're going out for a longer time, if you're going out to the city. And if you want it to be a bit warmer and have an extra layer of insulation, you just put an inlay inside of your shoe. And in general, guys, an important note, always remember to size up when you're buying your winter boots rather than sizing down. I mean, especially if you're in between sizes, because remember, you want to still be able to wear these very thick thermal socks with your boots. And this combination, these thermal socks with these kind of boots, still work pretty well up to minus 10, minus 15 degrees. But when it gets ultra cold, colder than minus 20 degrees, minus 20, 22 degrees, then I would usually combine these thermal socks with these proper winter boots from Columbia. And then it gets super warm. No matter how cold and windy it is out there, your feet are super warm, and it also helps you to keep your whole body warm that way. So believe it or not, no matter if it snows, if there's a snowstorm outside, my feet never get cold because I always use that right combination between socks and shoes. So I definitely recommend this combination, these thick thermal socks and these proper winter boots, if you're going out a lot, you're walking a lot, and especially waiting a lot for the bus. Because when you're just standing around and not moving, then your feet tend to get colder much faster. But guys, a very important warning, don't do this too soon. Don't wear this combination of thick thermal socks and these fur lined winter boots too soon when it's only, let's say, 0 degrees or even minus 5 degrees, because it can actually get too hot inside there and it can get sweaty and very uncomfortable. This is also related to how cold resistant you are. I get cold rather easily, but my husband is a bit more cold resistant. So last year, he also bought the same Columbia thermal socks, but the men's version, which are also fleeced inside, and he just found them to be too warm. He just didn't like these, and in the end he gave them to me, and because they're just oversized, I now use them at home in the winter. So I would recommend you to just start out buying 1 pair first and trying them out, and if it works for you, then you can easily buy another pair or 2. So just a bit more about these Columbia thermal socks. And by the way, this video is not sponsored by Columbia. I'm just sharing this with you because I love these so much and I really can't survive the winter without these. So where can you buy these socks? You can usually get them at places like Altitude Sports, Sport Check, and so on. But a secret here, you can get them for much cheaper at Winners. So if the listed price is usually anywhere from $15 to $18, you can get them at Winners usually for $9.99 or even cheaper. And they usually come in a pack of 2 pairs, like these 2 for example. By the way, guys, if you're new to this whole sock thing, a very important note. After you wash your favorite socks, never ever put them in the dryer because what will happen is likely that they will shrink to the size of baby socks and then you can just throw them out. So instead of putting these in the dryer, simply hang them on a clothing hanger and they'll usually dry pretty fast. Okay guys, I hope this video has helped you to find the perfect pair of socks for the winter. And by the way, just in case you're still hunting for the perfect pair of shoes, you can also check out this video here where I talk about different kind of winter boots. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.